Hello, welcome. This is Zubair Quazi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Liquid Capital AI, and today is our inaugural podcast, Liquidity Matters. And today we have a very distinguished guest. Uh, we're joined by Michael Bornhaesser, who is the chairman and managing partner at Bulb Capital. He previously co-founded MMKAG Pixel Park, Switzerland, and also Salford Private Bank, and also the founding president of iNet Innovation Networks. Michael brings in more than 30 years of VC and private equity experience as a founder and investor in many private funds and portfolio companies. So, Michael, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Zubair.
Absolutely, our pleasure. So, Michael, I give a brief introduction of you, but if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, would be great.
Yeah, why not? So I think the main points you already mentioned. On the other side, I think my experience for the last 25 to 30 years was really that I went through all the different stages of the startup economy in a way. So on one hand, I founded three companies. One you mentioned was Pixel Park. Another one was STC and DWS. We did one IPO. The other two I sold to Japanese companies. And after that, I moved into venture capital and do now at venture capital about 20 years. So we invested in about 18 companies, about 30 rounds with 8 exits. So I think what I really appreciate being in that scene is that I have the experience as a founder, went through all the highs and lows of a startup development, and then also been able to support various startups through their journey. So we did 2 IPOs, both on the New York Stock Exchange, one 6 billion, one 8 billion. We did trade sales, we did secondary sales. So we went through all the possible exits you can have. We still have about 6 companies active in not very nice times right now for venture capital. So yeah.
All right. So that kind of leads me to the conversation, Jess, and I wanted to have with you and kind of pick your brain on it. So last couple of years, uh, post 2021, we've been seeing quite a bit of a decline in the IPO market and sort of M&A, and then so that's kind of creating a bit of illiquidity for in the private funds, and we have seen that actually been increasing in 2023. So how do you see this challenge being impacting the entire ecosystem of the venture fund and private equity?
Yeah, I think the most problem is we have very limited M&A, so we don't have exits because of that, or very limited exits. Everybody knows that. Just look at the IPO markets in the last 2 years already. So liquidity didn't come back into the circle. So we are not able, to fund new companies. So also, funding rounds of startups been very, very tough to close, and the whole environment needs more fuel, to prosper, and this is missing right now, and therefore new solutions are needed.
Absolutely. So in your mind, and if you were to provide a solution, what kind of solution would be you would be interested in? I mean, before I get into that detailed answer from you, I mean, we have few different kind of solutions that are available right now. There are secondary VCs, and there is a private company stocks can be sold in certain platforms. So those are there, but that's a one type of solution, but doesn't really give an opportunity for early and continuous liquidity for the venture funds as a
Yeah,
whole.
yeah, that's correct. But on the other side, I think the most important side is to look on the buy side. when you look on the venture capital side or private equity side, if you want to be an LP, you need a big pocket to join, relevant and successful funds. That's one bit. The other bit is the funds as a whole running 8 to 12 years. So you need also some time,
Right.
until you can make sure you get your money back, or even you have a decent return. So I think it's very important that we open up the market for uh, not only for secondary transaction, which is a company by company situation, which is complicated. It's very important that we open up the market also for uh, yeah, investors with a smaller pocket, in order to join this kind of funds and this kind of assets, to bring absolutely fresh liquidity in the market, And I think this is one side of the coin, which is very important right now. On the other side, the funds. If you have a fund and you don't have 2 years, you have no exit. Even if you are have exit ready companies, you get pressure from your LPs in order to pay back your fund. And all the funds have a 8+2 and 10+2. So when you are in the +2, you are under pressure as well. So we see some activities on the market which is not in favor of the LPs selling the stuff for a very cheap price, company by company in the secondary market. But the overall fund is not finished. It's not can't be executed and can't get liquidity back to the LPs as a whole. And these are, I think, mechanisms which will help to create new solutions where you can buy small shares of big funds during the duration of the funds, and bringing liquidity to the LPs, so they can invest in new things. Yeah, and it sounds complex, but it's much easier than you thought it could be.
No, makes sense. Absolutely. No, no, we've been digging into some data, and then we saw there have been about 85 billion LP interest, in a sense that they wanted to get early exit last year, and that's not a surprise. And 85 billion is a lot of money that people wanted to get an early exit. Okay, so now let's talk about liquid capital. Okay, so all these problems and opportunities and the challenges that we see. How do you see liquid capital can help solve this problem and create a new dimension in this market?
I think I saw a lot of securitization in the past. So we had a bank, so we still did some securitization for our portfolio, private equity portfolio, in order to create something where affluent clients can invest with uh, smaller pockets. But it's very, very complicated and it's very, very expensive. So we did a securitization set up in Malta, and that costs us every year about 150K just for the bookkeeping and for the audit and for all this kind of stuff. We had about 3 different kind of lawyers. They're putting that together and follow the whole thing. So I think what liquid capital has achieved so far and found is a solution where you can very easy, very quick, and very cheap, so to speak, or price relevant, to be a little bit nicer, to put a whole fund into a cover where somebody with 100, 200, 300,000 can participate and even can trade this kind of assets on their platform. And I think so far I haven't seen in the market, and that can revolutionize the market because it's quick, it's cheap, and it's reliable. And that's what it is. That's the core of liquid capital, I think.
So on that note, and you mentioned about the managing of the funds, and there have been a lot of legal and compliance challenges. One thing then, from the liquid capital point of view, I like to highlight that we have um, looked into simplifying that, the entire regulatory challenges and compliance challenges, and remain compliant in the real time, so that the trading of these securities are not by any means are insecure or not compliant at any given moment. So now, piggybacking on that comment, what what excites you to join this team, and how excited you are for the future journey?
Yeah, I think what we can create is a win-win situation for both sides. You know, when you look at a trading solution, there's always the buy side and the sell side. So far, you know, there was only one winner or one main winner. You know, uh, the buy side or the sell side. Now we have a solution which supports both. You know, the sell side I already mentioned. I can buy a very well managed fund asset, you know, easy, reliable, and for a relevant cost. For the sell side, it's even more interesting. You look at, especially at the times we see right now, when you are sitting on a fund which has valuable assets, you know, but you are not able to close that fund because there is no M&A. I can a part of this fund I can put on that platform, get liquidity back, get liquidity to my LPs, maybe to raise a new fund, you know, uh, and even I can maintain my whole portfolio moving forward, you know, until times are changing and I can close the fund. And this is a release for the fund management, and it's a big release for the LPs. And what I said before, it brings back liquidity in the system. So I think this is a clear win-win situation, which we haven't got before.
Excellent, Michael. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. So I think we have reached to the end of our conversation. So in conclusion, this is what I'm going to say. This is a clear need for early and continuous liquidity for VC funds or any other private funds in today's environment. And Michael, you have shared some great insights around that. And we see that liquid capital's solution can help bridge this vital liquidity gap and provide funds some enhanced returns, risk management, and early liquidity. And as the investment landscape is changing and evolves, so the strategies of these fund managers to provide investors the best possible returns also needs to change and needs to be looked upon in a different angle. So hope you found this episode of Liquidity Matters insightful. And I'd really like to thank our guest, Michael Bornhaeusser, for his important insights and deep insights into the market trend and about his experience. So stay tuned for more discussions on finance, investments, and economic trends. And thank you for joining us today. And remember, this ever-changing financial environment, liquidity matters. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you.